My name's Mike Cleaver. I'm the event director for F2B Aerobatics at the European Championships 1989. What we're doing here is processing the models so we don't actually get any foul play, if you like. We check the models for weight because the models have to be line pulled to test the lines for stress, etc. So the weight is 20 times the weight of the model maximum. So we weigh those to check that it's the exact weight. The engines are then engraved so that they cannot be modified at all or changed or switched to improve performance during the competition to gain advantage. This is not too important during aerobatics, it's more important during the racing events, team race, speed, etc.
To find out a little more about the aircraft, who better to talk to than British team member Barry Robinson?
Right. Well, this model is Northwind 7, an undesign model for F2B Aerobatics. It's span of 62 inches, and total wing area at 800 square inches. The engine is a Super Tiger 60 Italian, 10cc capacity. The model weight is 70 ounces. Prop is an Australian poly carbon fibre 13x6. The fuel tank is a homemade 150cc tank and designed to run within the 7-minute period which is in the F2B schedule. The basics of the aircraft for aerobatics are that the total control system is moved by the two wires through a bell crank system in the model, and it operates the flaps and the elevators in opposites. With the flaps to give more lift to the wing, the elevators obviously to turn the tail down in its opposite direction. The flight is controlled by how much the pilot applies to each of the wires through a handle to alter the rate of turn for the round and square corners. The model can be adjusted in this case because it is a two-piece model to alter the flap to elevator ratio to increase and decrease the sensitivity in turns. Now, this particular aeroplane is covered first in a layer of tissue and then in lightweight Japanese silk, and 7 coats of dope applied before the colour coats and finishing coats, and then finished off in fuel proofer. The silencer again for the engine is a homemade unit based around a short extension piece and a piece of shower curtain. We find it very effective and it's light, which is one of the things that in aerobatics, weight is all important.
Right, the man you see walking out to the circle at the moment is the reigning European champion, Luciano Compostela from Italy. He's about to fly, do a practice flight for the competition, consisting of the takeoff which you now see. This will be followed by 6 level laps, and the first manoeuvre we will do is what we call a reverse wing over. The judges at this point should be standing on the upwind side of the circle, and they'll be looking for, during all manoeuvres, smoothness, consistency, pull-outs, as you see there, tidiness of the flight, shapes, and things like that. On the next lap, we'll do 3 loops. That's the first one, that's the second one, and that's the third one. Then we'll now go into an inverted position for 6 laps. The Italians are a little bit different in the way they fly. They use powder puffs to detect the way the wind is blowing, so they can position their manoeuvres directly downwind. This is so that the line tension on the model is maintained at all times throughout, as this is what is mainly relied on for the controls. We'll now go back the opposite way, doing 3 bunts. This then pulls back into level flight, followed by 2 level laps, and on the next time round he will go into the square manoeuvres. These are the square loops. There's 2 of those. He will then do a further lap and then climb, as you see now, to a 45-degree angle to do the same the opposite way, what we call the square bunt. Again, all the time the judges are looking for consistency in pull-outs, superimposition over each manoeuvre to gain the points required. There you see the powder puff go. This is now followed by the triangles. The strike ball there is quite breezy for the flies. He wasn't happy with it, so he's having another go. Right, we now go from that into the round manoeuvres. This is the 8s, the horizontal 8s. At this point, the judges are looking for the model forming the shape of an 8 in the sky and putting the intersections of the 8 in exactly the same place every time. We'll now do that a little bit more difficult and do it in square form. This is the first one. This is the second one. Right, there goes the powder puff. The next time round he'll do an 8 again, this time a vertical 8. It's the first one. This is the second one, pulling out into level flight between 4 and 6 feet. All manoeuvres are pulled out between 4 and 6 feet during the competition. The next manoeuvre you see being performed is an hourglass shape. It's probably one of the hardest manoeuvres to do. Right, we now go back to the 8s again. And this time we'll do figure of 8s over his head. At this point the judges are looking for, again, accuracy on intersections, line angles and things of tidiness and accuracy again. Right, the last manoeuvre is 4-leaf clover. This is entered into from 38 degrees and does 4 loops. That's the first one, that's the second one, that's the third one, and that's the fourth one, and he'll pull out over his head. That is actually the end of the schedule. Now, from takeoff to landing, the model must be stationary before the 7-minute period is up. If this overruns into over 7 minutes, then the landing points are lost, which could mean either winning or losing. Most stunt flyers use 2-stroke engines. Compostela is using a 4-stroke. Now the landing is descended from 5 feet once the engine cuts to a level, smooth landing. Where the model should come to a halt.
Bill Draper, I know you're from Nottingham, an English team. How many years have you been flying aerobatics?
Oh, well, I don't know about aerobatics. I started flying about 1948 and I sort of doubled the early schedule about 1949-50. Then I laid off for about 12 years and I started again 64, 65. Started contest flying about 68, 69.
A fair number of years.
Fair number of years, yes.
Luigi Compostela. Luciano Compostela.
Yes. Not Luigi.
But from which part of Italy are you from? Which city?
My city is Monza.
Monza.
Near Milano. Milan.
And how many years? Quanti anni?
I fly.
You fly, yes.
Fly or?
Oh, you fly.
I think 35.
35 years.
35, 40.
40 years,
Yes.
yeah, right. And have you had a lot of competition successes, Bill?
We have locally, yes. Luciano's done very well. He's been European champion and several times, and has always competed even at World Championships. I've had a lot of success in England. I've won a lot of small competitions.
And the national?
And the nationals 3 times, yeah, and won the Clapper League many times. The competition flying, I like the competition flying. It gives them the mettle to the game to me. It gives the excitement to the game rather than ordinary sport flying. I think that's what gets the adrenaline going, and that's what improves your flying.
And you've won many competitions? Champion of Europe? How many times?
5 times.
5 times?
Yes.
Champion of the world?
No.
Not champion of the world, no. And your aircraft, they're very, very different. What sort of engine do you use in your aircraft?
Well, this is an Enya 40, Enya Super Sport 40, Schnell Porter 40.
2-stroke?
2-stroke, yes. And these are very much lighter than the 4-stroke, so they finish up with a longer nose aeroplane. Luciano's is a 4-stroke Weber. Heavier engine, so you finish with a short nose aircraft to get the centre of gravity right.
And what size? 4-stroke, what size? How many cc? What did you
10
10
cc, yes.
10 cc, a big engine, but very heavy. Very heavy, yeah. And the design of the aircraft looks very different. Will you have a comment on this build?
Well, obviously Luciano's based it on the style of a sort of 1925-ish light aircraft. This is more purpose designed, but it's a development of a long line of aerobatic aircraft.
This is your own design?
This is my own design, yes.
And published in the...
Yes, this particular, a version of this was published in 1984 Aero Modeler. This is a slightly modified version of that.
This is your own design?
I have not designed the plan for this model. I have only a little plan.
drawing?
Yes, in scale.
Full-size plan.
14 scale. I have not now white.
Not a big one, no. And you're happy with this design? Are you thinking of any newer design?
Well, I'm not thinking of many vast changes. I keep trying to make minor adjustments and changes as I build each one. You try to design out any little idiosyncrasy that the predecessors have got. Sometimes you design another one in, of course. But it's to me, it's been a sort of development series. I've built about half a dozen of these now. Each one just slightly different to the others.
Have many other people built to that design?
Well, a number of people have built the plans that have been published, yes, yes.
How many years has this plane been flying? 1987?
Yes.
2 years on. Do you think it will last many more years?
I think,
yes.
you think so,
yes.
yes.
Do you think it will go on for many years? Yes.
What?
You intend to carry on flying for many years more, Bill?
Well, we hope to do that. A bit of anno domino keeps passing, but we'll keep trying, you know. These younger guys keep coming up and giving us competition, but we'll keep trying.
Still keep the top. You will carry on many years more?
I think so, I think 10 years, 20 years.
20 years more?
Wait.
We look forward to seeing you in many more championships.
Thank you very much.
And the best of luck to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Grazie.
Defending his European title, Luciano Compostela led in the early stages of the competition, with Bill Draper very close behind. But Bill managed to pull together and went ahead to win with 5,796 points, a winning margin of only 46 points. Kolesnikov from the USSR came a close third with 5,737 points. For sheer entertainment value at any control line competition, it has got to be combat. I asked FAI jury member Vaughan Hunt to explain the rules.
I'd like to briefly describe for you the type of event that has been flown behind me here. It's what's called the control line combat event. And as you can see from the noise behind, it's what we call the dogfight event in control line flying. The idea behind the event is that two models are flown on the same length lines in the same circle. And the idea is that each opponent, each competitor, must try and get pieces of a streamer, which is a crate streamer, a heavyweight crate streamer, that is towed behind the back of the model. For every cut that is taken of the streamer by the opponent's propeller, it's 100 points, and for every second that the opponent stays on the ground, it's -1. So over a 4-minute period, you have a knockout system. Each competitor is allowed a maximum of 2 models per heat. In other words, if there's a mid-air collision and there's crashes, a pit crew on the floor can replace the model and lines completely. But he's only allowed 2 per heat. Now, my job as a juryman, one of 3 international people that oversee the event, is to make sure that the current rules are applied correctly, that there are no infringements, and that the rules are kept in good keeping with sportsmanship. So the 3 of us will spend the next 3 days overseeing the whole event, making sure that things run correctly.
This bout is between James of Great Britain and Janssen, who's flying for Belgium. James, having already disposed of Janssen's streamer, is now trying to stay out of his way. Achieving a cut, Janssen puts himself into the ground and suffers an eventual defeat, having been unable to restart.
What we have here is a typical combat aeroplane. Now, as you'll probably guess so far, it doesn't really look too much like an aeroplane. That's because the model is designed purely around the dogfight and performance. So in this instance here, showing you this way, the control of the aircraft is controlled by this piece here that we call a bell crank. This connects up through here to the lines that control the aeroplane. So that controls if the model goes up and down or what manoeuvres it will do. The engine here is the high-performance glow engine. In this case, it's I call it home-built Russian engine, probably producing about 1.5 brake horsepower from 26,000 revs per minute. A carbon glass propeller, which has specifically been made against the type of aeroplane that's been flown. This here, this small box that you have here, is in fact the tank compartment. All of these engines don't run on a suction principle. What they use is something like a grip-tight cylinder that children use. Something like that is blown up, it's filled with fuel, and that then forces fuel back from here, back into the engine.
Monique Bakkerman, you're in the Dutch combat team. There are not many women flying combat in Britain. Do you have many other girls flying combat in Holland?
No, there's no one flying in Holland also. I know one Italian woman is flying. She's making here pit work for her husband, and she's flying also. But further, there are no people, no girls.
And what do your friends at home think when they discover that you're a model flyer and an international one as well?
My friend liked it very much. And I met him 8 years ago already, and then he was a little bit surprised, but he's exciting now. He finds it exciting also.
You were a model flyer before he was?
Yeah, but he's not flying now. He's doing other sports.
I see.
Yeah.
And what about non-modelers at home? Do they think it's a strange thing for a woman to do, to be flying model aircraft?
No, they don't think so. They're used to it, maybe in the beginning, but they're used to it now.
Is this your first time representing Holland?
No. No, I was here in '85, also the European champs. In Utrecht, also European champs, and last year in Kiev at World Champ, and in Page also the World Champ. So.
And you have won 2 of your bouts so far here, have you?
Yeah.
Good, that's very good. Let's have a look at the aeroplane.
Okay.
What sort of engines are you using?
USE engine, it's a Dutch engine.
Yes. Designed specially for combat?
Yes.
And that's a 2.5 glow motor. What sort of weight?
What's the weight? 140 grams.
Okay.
So
that looks a pretty big tank. You're using a pressure tank there, are you?
yeah.
What does the aeroplane weigh?
This is a heavy one. It's 210 grams.
210 grams, yeah, okay.
Pretty heavy.
Right. What sort of speed do you think that flies at, roughly?
I don't know. I think 150.
150 kilometers an hour, yes. Yes.
Close.
Do you start engines yourself normally, or do you let somebody else cut their fingers off?
No, when in training I start them also myself. But here in the competition it's easier that the mechanic is doing it.
Yeah. How many aeroplanes did you bring to the championships?
I brought a lot. Too much. I brought 16.
16. Good. They're expendable aeroplanes, really, aren't they? You can expect to damage them.
I brought 8 of these ones and 8 less expensive ones.
Yes.
Superb flying skills here from Monique and her opponent, Mike Willens. Mike represents Great Britain. A spectacular crash that brings Mike Willens' aircraft tumbling to the ground. Monique is able to keep her aircraft in the air as Mike Willens works frantically to untangle his lines.
Who do you think is going to be the main opposition in your next rounds?
The main opposition, I don't know, I think it's a Russian.
I think you might be right.
Yeah.
Well, good luck, Monique, anyhow, in the rest of the combat championships, and thanks for talking to us.
Okay, thank you very much.
After 3 rounds, Monique is in a strong position, although losing to Willens in that bout. Belayev for Russia has won all 3 of his bouts, as we see on the board at the end of 3 rounds. Monique eventually finished with 5 wins and 2 losses, sharing 4th place with Shablinkras from the USSR. Seen here is Shablinkras just practicing some of his techniques.
Boris Fazov, you're currently world champion in control line combat. Where are you from, please?
He came from Sverdlovsk, which is USSR.
Indeed. I'm Vyacheslav Belyaev. You're a European champion. Where is your hometown?
He's from Leningrad.
Okay. Tell me, how many combat flyers are there in the USSR? Approximately.
Combat полетов в СССР. Around.
Затруднительно сказать
It's very
точное
difficult to
число.
say the exact figure, but it's so many, so you can't even tell you that.
And in your own town, in Leningrad, how many, perhaps?
Сильных бойцов, это 15-16.
About 15, 16 very strong flyers.
Good. Okay. How long have you been flying?
Сколько лет вы занимались запуском этих самолетов?
Вообще сейчас уже где-то 22 года.
By now it's about 22 years.
And Boris? How many years?
Я 15 лет.
15.
Okay. And what type of aircraft did you first fly? What type of
Какой
model?
тип модели вы начали сначала использовать?
Планера F1A.
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 Yes, free flight gliders. And Boris? What, the same, both started on F1A?
То есть легко, что я занимался кордами и планировал F1A. То же самое, то есть параллельно.
Yeah, he used both the same but parallel.
Understand. And you have had many successes in the Soviet Union in combat yourselves, presumably.
Вы очень много получили, ну не медали, но вы были очень известны по Советскому Союзу на таких моделях.
Ну, в общем-то, да, потому что у нас и сборная составляется на основании того, что мы летаем в Советском Союзе.
Yeah, the more better, or the better they do in their own group, the obviously you go into a championship in the Soviet Union then.
Okay, and how many hours do you practice a day or a week,
Сколько часов вы
perhaps?
занимаетесь в день или в неделю?
Каждый день, в общем-то.
Every day. Сколько часов?
Трудно сказать. Ну,
I
все
suppose
свободное время.
most of the day, he said most of his free time he trains for that.
Yeah. How many models have you brought with you here to Wigan?
Сколько моделей вы с собой привезли в Wigan?
10-11.
10-11.
Each?
Каждый привез 10-11?
Да.
Yes.
Okay. The weight of the model, how many grams?
Сколько это весит?
В сборе с мотором вместе 400, ну, от 400 до 420.
With the motor, with the engine itself, it weighs about 400 to 500 grams.
4 to 500. And what is the airspeed? Well, what speed does it fly?
Какая скорость?
Скорость, ну, то же самое, в общем-то, не постоянно одинаковая. Это в
It's not
районе
always the same.
No,
but
of course.
от 130 до 150.
It's from 130 to 115
Kilometers an hour.
kilometers per
Да.
hour. Yeah.
Yes, okay. The motor, did you build it yourself?
Вы сами построили мотор?
Нет, у нас в Советском Союзе
Да.
немного другие правила.
They have
То есть
different rules in the Soviet Union.
экипаж состоит из пилота и механика.
The team is made out of, not made, it contains out of pilot and mechanic.
Вот. И чаще всего пилот занимается
Most of the
моделями,
time, pilot makes the carcass of it,
вот, всей стартовой частью, то есть там баки,
all little bits and details.
вот, корды и прочее. А механики делают
And the
двигатель.
mechanic makes the motor.
And what is the motor weight?
Сколько мотор весит?
Весит, ну, тоже разные, в общем-то,
It's all different.
из
It
3
varies.
экипажей от 110 до 130.
3 different teams from 110 to 130.
Grams. Yes. And ask Maurice, what is the RPM? What speed does the motor turn? How many revolutions?
Сколько оборотов делает ваш мотор?
На стенде на
Circa.
полетном винте он крутит по нашему тахометру, то есть вот что у нас есть, 28 тысяч.
28,000. That's by Russian measurement.
28,000. Do you have any idea of the horsepower, the power of the
Вы
engine?
знаете лошадиная сила какая?
Лошадиная мы замерили, это 0,5.
About
Ну, от 0,5 до 0,8 вроде.
0.5 to 0.8.
In this bout, Belayev is fighting Königshofer from Austria. Belayev has just scored 100 points from his first cut and is now trying hard to keep his success rate going. He has already won 3 out of 3. Could this be his fourth? Belayev looks relaxed enough, no problems at the moment. Belayev takes his knock to score another 100 points. Königshofer has a lot to do, as Belayev will now keep well out of the Austrians' way. A collision brings down Königshofer. Königshofer runs out of time and Belayev takes the win. Mike Willents is doing well for Great Britain, having all 3 wins. As he prepares for the semi-finals, I spoke with team manager Dave Rudd.
I give it a good 50-50. He's going in there to win, right? Not give up. He's on even par at the moment with the Russian on lives. They both got 2 lives apiece. So I hope it's going to be a good combat.
And good combat it is, with each pilot working overtime to gain those points. That's a cut for Willents, 100 points. He now has to keep out of the Russians' way. Sadly, he is brought down, but a fast team quickly gets him back into the air. A cut for the Russian puts him in the lead. Willits is once again brought down, and that's the end of the bout.
Well, I don't know. So he might as well go for it. He could go when he wanted, and he didn't go until he knew he was safe.
It wasn't long before Willits found himself flying against the Russian world champion Faisov for third place. They fought hard, and Willits scored first with a complete cut. And a few seconds later, Faisov got his cut to bring the scores to evens. The tension is mounting as Faisov makes a mistake. He crashes. That gives Willits the advantage. Faisov restarts again and crashes almost immediately. Running out of time, it puts Willits through to the finals. The finals were not short of their exciting moments between the Russian Belayev and Willits for Great Britain. They battled hard. The Russian cuts one of Mike Willits' wires, and down he comes. Mike explains what happens.
One wire broke, and so I crashed, right, on the line-ups. I crashed with only one line. So I untangled the lines off his handle, and the centre marshal said, "That's okay, let's go." So we're all clear to go. So we went, and when I came up, he said, "No, it was wire. My lines were trailing from his belt crank, stuck on his belt crank." Well, I don't know. You're supposed to clear the lines, aren't you? But I don't know how you clear them up there.
The decision of the jury is verdict of regarding a line tangle. As the line tangle was not cleared, okay, then you are disqualified for launching on the second model.
The protest by team manager David Rudd was later overruled. That left Willits in second place, and Belayev took the title of European champion. To make sure things run smoothly, the responsibility goes to the man in charge of the whole operation, Richard King, the overall contest director.